Hey, do you know what, man?
What?
You've already taken me by surprise. Because you're showing your face.
Yeah, just don't tell anybody.
You're the first person that I've spoken to in this venture that I don't know personally. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. Everyone else I've kind of either met or everyone else I've known so far actually.
I'm humbled.
I was quite intrigued by the idea of talking to you without ever seeing your face, or But listen, you have a lovely face. I'm not having a go at you. Why do you hide your face?
Originally I think when I first started writing, I decided to post it on Instagram, and I think if I'm honest, it's because I was shy and I didn't want kind of me writing poetry to blend in with the kind of other things I was doing in my life. And then, as it's grown and the account has grown and the following's grown and the books came out, I think I keep it as a symbol to write what I feel and not what I think I should feel, just keep writing for me and keep trying to at least write vulnerably. And I think the other part of that is just like, the fame thing. And I have a desire not to be famous, not to be recognized. And,
wise man.
Yeah, well, I mean, I growing up, I've been surrounded by very, very famous people, and it comes with a huge trade-off. I mean, better than anyone. It's a double-edged sword, and I want to, I obviously want to spread my my poetry, but if I could do it without being recognized, then I think that's important to me.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. Do you know what? That's one of the things I enjoy about writing with other folks that I never realized I would. I didn't start co-writing with other people till I was 38 or something. And wow. It's like I wish I'd discovered it sooner, because I could have been lost in the world without ever just kind of without ever being really noticed. You could do your own thing,
totally,
without ever having to go out and sort of push it and promote yourself and switch on that button. You know what I mean? That nobody really wants to switch on.
When I started, I was missing that kind of real connection with fans, and so I was like, I'm just gonna do these book tours. I'm just gonna wear a mask, and then I can meet people. I can look them in the eye. I can shake their hands. I can listen to their stories. But again, I kind of keep that personal distance of recognition, and it's imperfect, but it was important to me, and I just wanted to be able to meet people, but also not get recognized.
So, man, I mean, listen, I heard this interview with you where you said that the first time you ever wrote poetry was you saw the most beautiful girl you'd ever seen in Paris.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe that. I mean, I do believe that that's where something clicked for you. But there must have been something there before, right? I mean, what age were you when that happened?
I was just in my early 20s, and it's like up to that point I'd always been interested in classical writers and poets, and I was a big Jack Kerouac fan, and Bukowski and Hunter and Hunter S. Thompson, and I grew up loving that world, and the kind of like, I was very nostalgic for it, but I certainly never considered that I had anything to say myself. I was just kind of enjoyed it. And actually, before that, I will say that my mom, who was born in Ireland, she put up in our house on the wall a poster of Irish playwrights and poets. And there was just like a quote of each of them. And I used to love, like, I'd memorize them. And I think that was like, I loved it. And I think that was a big first exposure for me to poetry.
Life throws us all challenges, There you go. That's better, isn't it? Now we can see each other.
Yeah, but for years I'd never thought about exploring or ever imagined I'd had anything to say, and it wasn't until years later when I was in France and I met an actor there. He was a friend of a friend. This guy named Michael Madsen, who's if you don't know who that is, he's like the bad guy from Kill Bill and bad guy from Reservoir Dogs and a Justin Bieber music video, I think.
That's quite the resume.
And he told me a lot and taught me a lot about and fame, and like his struggles with fame and substance abuse, and how in his words poetry had saved his life. And for me that was incredible. I had this American badass motorcycle riding guy who was writing poetry, and for me that was kind of gave me permission to explore that side of myself for the first time. And then as you said, it was a few days later when I was in Paris and I saw something beautiful or I felt was beautiful, and I just decided to write about it.
Wow. Never happened before that. Before that point, you'd never written a poem?
Never written a poem, and it never dawned on me. And I think part of it is and maybe you growing up where you grew up was a bit different, but it was kind of like I grew up in Canada, and it wasn't like poetry wasn't a thing that society told you was you should do, especially.
Although some of the greatest lyricists of our time come from there, Chris Coburn, Joni Mitchell, Neil Young, Justin Bieber.
Nice.
You get a starter, you get a main, and you get a dessert, and you get a song to listen to for each course. Yeah, do you know what? I would have. I was in Chiang Mai once, and I had the most incredible, beef salad. Really, really spicy, and the beef was really cut very, very thin. It wasn't overcooked or anything. It was just nice and succulent, and it was really spicy. And it was I don't even know what was in that, to be honest with you. I just remember it tasted like heaven. I would have that.
Now I'm getting really hungry. I love that. Okay.
Yeah, so I would have that for my starter, and while I was having that, I would listen to what would I listen to? I would listen to "You Got a Friend in Me" by Randy Newman.
Oh, that's great. I mean, I'm a huge fan of French fries, but the skinny fries that have the truffle sauce on it. You know, you get them at Chateau Marmont. Their fries. I'd start with their fries because it's just a good way to start. And
you're gonna have French fries for a starter.
I do.
And that's it. Just some French fries.
For a starter, yeah. I mean, you're gonna get some sauces in there.
Yeah, do you want some salt? What do you want? Ketchup? You want mayonnaise? What kind of guy?
Yeah. I mean, Canadians love their mayonnaise with French fries, but I'm not, depends. I have to be in the right mood for that. But yeah, ketchup, I don't know, if I'm feeling fancy, a little ranch.
Wow. Well, hey, listen, get plush. The asteroid's about to smash the Earth.
Yeah.
Have some fucking
decision.
ranch.
Yeah, no doubt. And then what will I listen to?
Yeah, what would you listen to when you're having your fucking chips and sauce? For your final starter.
I love that there's an asteroid coming to Earth, and I'm wondering if I should get the ranch because I'm worried about the calories.
Have the ranch.
Have the ranch. Damn it.
Have the ranch. Fuck it. Have the ranch.
I'm gonna listen to a Chet Baker probably.
Oh.
Yeah. He's my jam. That's like if I'm doing anything, cooking dinner or whatever, I'll just ask Alexa or Google to play Chet Baker. Yeah.
Do you know what, man? That's something I noticed about. Hang on. What song by Chet Baker will you have? Actually, before we move on.
Probably like I Fall in Love Too Easily if it's my last song, but anything, the record Chet Baker sings, obviously, anything on that. I think it starts with I think that's the first song on it, I Fall in Love Too Easily.
Let's have the whole album.
Yeah. What's on it?
Let's just listen to the whole album over French fries and ketchup.
Doesn't that sound like a jam? I like that.
I thought it was actually, I'd be in with that. Do you read a lot of poetry now? Since you sort of made this, this connection yourself. Like, did that then open up a pathway to, like, have you found, like, you want to read more of it, or it switched you on to it, or you're just, it's more your own flow?
No, I definitely started reading more poetry when I started writing, and I think one of the cool things, and I don't know if you've seen it, but there has in the last few years been this like resurgence of poetry and interest in written word and on Instagram, I often just post like little short clips, or like I'll take parts out of longer poems and just throw them in there, and because that's how Instagram is, it's bite-sized for the most part, and but what I love and what I think is cool is that this kind of bite-sized poetry is in for all intents and purposes like a gateway into classical literature, and I think what we're seeing is people are like seeing quotes they like and whatever, and as they start like uncovering the like vast world of poetry and prose and literature, and they're finding the classics, and I think that's a beautiful thing, and it's really important, especially in this day and age, to refine that, and rediscover that, and I think it's a really positive thing. But I'm reading, I read a ton. Try to anyway.
Yeah, no, it's just I've a friend, a poet, John Plunkett, and he sort of never wrote a word in his life. It wasn't on his radar at all. And then one day read a poem by the name's gone, Ruth, a Scottish poet. And then that was it. He just, and from that moment on, he had an insatiable desire to, he couldn't stop reading it or writing it. If he wasn't writing it, he was reading it. If he wasn't reading it, he was writing it. It was
amazing.
just
that's amazing.
And it's curious though that when the tap comes on like that, when the tap just sort of out of nowhere, just like whoosh, there you go. There's an outlet for all this shit that has been in you for a long time. You didn't even know you needed to get out.
Yeah.
It's a bizarre thing to happen.
Yeah, and I've always found it interesting, and one thing, I always say why it's so important to kind of share your work and put it out in the world is because you don't know who you'll inspire and who you'll kind of trigger into like just discovering that, you know. It's like you know, all the greats were somehow inspired or triggered into writing. And I remember this Hunter S. Thompson in an interview one time. He's like, somebody asked him, how do you get inspired? And he's like, you know, sometimes I just couldn't write, and so I'd literally take out my typewriter and I'd take out a book of like a great, like a Hemingway and whatever, or like somebody I loved, and I just start typing word for word what I read in the book. And he's like, that got me in the flow of greatness, he said. And he's like, from there I was able to write. I always like that. I feel like I write something and then I forget it, and people will be like, do you remember this poem? And I'm like, I don't even remember that poem. But does that ever happen to you as an artist, or you just can recall anything you've ever written?
I think I'm probably cursed with being able to sing. I could probably sing most of it. I can remember it. Unfortunately, I can remember most of my old lyrics, unfortunately. But I just choose to avoid them for the most part.
Yeah. I think that's a big challenge, hurdle of an artist is like hating their early work and people liking them and trying to move past it, but people just being like, no, play it, you know, read this or play this, and yeah, you'd like sooner forget it.
Yeah, man. I think it's just about staying on your toes, you know, staying interested, staying active, staying interested when it comes to creating, you know. The second you start to like you were talking about Charles Bukowski earlier, one of my favorite poems is one by him called Art. As the form appears, the spirit wanes. Is that what it is? Or no, as the spirit wanes, the form appears. There it is. As the spirit wanes, the form appears.
That's so.
That's kind of.
He's a talent, man.
I love that. That's it in a nutshell.
That's
it's like you gotta be, you know, like, you know, you gotta be like Rauschenberg. You gotta be searching for that fucking new thing all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
So main course is steak. Yeah. It's steak, and I like mushrooms, so I'd be like, cook mushrooms in there, get some mashed potatoes, obviously. You know, I mean, we're going for it for this. The asteroid is approaching. So yeah, a good steak, and you know, if we're really going for it, I'll get the mac and cheese and do the whole
Hell
steak
yeah.
Dinner. Yeah.
Why would you not? And how are you having that steak cooked?
I like it medium. It depends on like where I'm eating, but like a medium.
In the best restaurant possible. This is like,
then,
you know.
I'd go medium rare or rare. I had this friend's grandfather used to say,
"Fuck it, just give me the cow."
Yeah.
Just give me a cow and some French fries.
Yeah, he had a quote. He's like, his steak would come out and he'd always get it rare, and he's like, I've seen sick cows hurt worse, get better. I was like that. Yeah, so that's kind of steak.
Okay, so steak and mushrooms and mac and cheese. That sounds pretty good. Like any kind of sauce with that, like a peppercorn sauce or garlic butter, or what are you having with that?
Both of those things you just said there. I just have them on the side so you can do the dip in there.
There you go.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, slice by slice.
This meal like immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Right when we're done, I'm going to go out and see who's delivering steaks.
This always makes me hungry doing this too. Yeah. So hang on, steak and okay. What are you going to listen to with that then?
You know, one of my favorite songs, and my mom again put me onto it, is you might not know it. It's a Canadian artist named David Francie, and sings this song called "Come Rain or Come Shine." But it's like,
that rings a bell. Come rain or come shine. Is that? That's
yeah. Yeah,
That
you might have heard of him. You should listen to it. But
is that like like a classic, like sort of feels like it was in a Disney movie or something to me. Or
probably the lyrics.
I would have a roast chicken with I would put a lemon. I would pierce a lemon, put it in the cavity of the chicken with some and I would punch some cloves of garlic and lash them in there too, and then I would cook that, and then I would have just, do you know what, kind of that with hummus and a Greek salad,
Wow.
and just kind of, rip it off and dip it in the hummus, and like an endless supply of incredible hummus. If I can order that, if that's allowed, I would have that, and a Greek salad, and some white wine. And I would listen to. I would have white wine because I don't usually drink white wine because it sends me crazy. But if the asteroid's hitting, fuck it, man, we're having white wine.
Let's go crazy.
Let's have it. Let's have at it. And I would listen to. You got a friend in me. Do you know what? I would listen to D Flat Waltz by Weather Report. It's off an album called Domino Theory. Do you know Weather Report?
No, I'll have to look them up. I love that. Weather Report. What's the song called?
D Flat Waltz.
I think I'd be described as pretty nostalgic. I like eras before I was born.
Mm-hmm.
I love the 20s and the 40s and the 50s, and I listen to this like wartime radio, like songs from the 40s, and I love
Mm-hmm.
that. I've listened to that a long time, and like the Chet Baker and the Edith Piaf, and French music, like that, Cole Porter, and so I think I grew up listening to a lot of that, and then but in high school I obviously started listening to, we listened to a lot of like rap and hip hop growing up, and so really enjoyed that, and especially like lyrical.
Do you think that
stuff.
was part of where the love of words came from too, or?
Thinking back, I think so, and I think I gravitated towards people I thought were good lyricists. I love, I had a huge love for that growing up, and totally. I think I hadn't really considered that, but the love of rap and hip hop certainly had an element of that. Just
Man, you got do you know Bruce Cockburn? When I mentioned
No.
Bruce Cockburn earlier, you don't know him?
No.
That seems crazy to me. That he's just one of the greatest lyricists. Full stop. I mean, it's hard to kind of gauge that sort of thing, isn't it? Because it's not a fucking competition. But if there's a list of greats, he's in it.
Yeah.
He's in it. Bruce Cockburn is most assuredly in it. And I would have his song. I haven't even decided what I'm going to have for dessert, but I would have his song. Isn't that what friends are for? I would have that with my dessert.
I'm writing down all these songs. I'm gonna check them out. Isn't that what friends are for?
Isn't that what friends are for? Yeah, and listen. His name's spelled Bruce Cockburn.
Oh.
There you go. Just in case.
Oh yeah, there.
That was for the ninth graders there. I can have a laugh about that. I feel like every time I do this, I always choose a cheese board. I think I don't fuck a cheese board tonight. I don't fancy a cheese board tonight. What are we gonna have tonight? What are we gonna have for dessert? Do you know what? I'm gonna have like a gallon glass of root beer float.
Whoa.
That's what I'm gonna have. I'm going to listen to Bruce Coburn. Isn't that what friends are for?
Oh, I love that. Oh, that brings me back. I used to get those in the summer. I can't even tell you the last time I had a root beer float, but that sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, they are amazing.
Yeah.
Here, tell me this before you tell me your dessert. Tell me this. Atticus.
Yeah.
A very little known philosopher. What's that about?
Oh, you mean where did the name come from, or or Atticus the philosopher?
Well, either or, whichever you want to tell me.
I mean, I get that question a lot. It's like, why did you decide to use the pen name Atticus? And if I'm honest, like I really just like the name. I'd always been a fan of the name. I think probably from To Kill a Mockingbird and Harper Lee. Grew up reading that, but I'd always loved the name, and it wasn't until a few years into writing that somebody brought up. They're like, there's this philosopher in ancient Greece called Atticus, and not too much is known about him, but
pretty elusive guy.
But there's also this in ancient Greece there was this nation of Attica, and the Atticans from there were great philosophers and poets, and I've always loved that connection. But really I just really like the name, and I wish I could say that I was from Attica, but I'm an Attican.
I just thought with the whole kind of cloaked identity and stuff, I thought, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Yeah.
You just like the name. Why did you call the kid Buck? Fuck it. We just like the name. Buck.
Exactly.
Fuck it. Call him Buck.
Fuck it. Call him Buck. You know what I'm having? I thought about it, and it's... have you ever had a good bread pudding? You must have.
Yeah, of course,
right.
Yeah.
So bread pudding with like vanilla ice cream, whipped cream on there, go full, and on the side,
any fruit like sliced strawberries, anything like that.
Oh, maybe some candied apples kind of thing, or that would be nice.
Oh wow! And what did you say? Did you say a beer float on the side? What did you say?
A root beer float on the side, just because fuck it.
Yeah, hell yeah! Tie it in, man. Tie it in. If we're gonna go out together, let's have a root beer float together. Mine's gonna be way bigger than yours, though. Mine's a gallon one. I'm not fucking around, homie.
Mine will probably have real beer in it too, just because what the hell.
There you go.
And
what are you gonna listen to?
And a whiskey. I'd have a scotch too. I'd listen to. So it's more. I'd listen to poetry. There's a. If you've never heard it, there's this great recording of Jack Kerouac reading his long poem "October in the Railroad Earth," and it's on Spotify, and you can get it on YouTube. But I listen to it at night a lot, and I love it. It's just like the most peaceful thing. So if I'm gonna die by a meteor, I'd do that. I'd listen to Jack Kerouac reading October in the Railroad Earth with some bread pudding and a root beer float. Cheersing you.
I love it. Yeah, that's not a bad way to go.